Okay, let's just jump right in. We all have that dream of owning a home, right? But what if I told you the way we pay for it is, well, it's basically designed to keep us paying for way longer and for way more money than we actually need to? It's kind of a big deal. And today, we're not just looking at mortgages. We're going to pull back the curtain on how the bank's math really works to find those hidden costs. This is all about taking back control.
This makes perfect sense. When you're looking for a house, the number one question is always, can I afford the monthly payment? It feels like the only number that matters. And that's exactly what the bank wants you to focus on. It's almost like a magic trick because it distracts you from the number that is truly going to cost you a fortune down the road.
Exactly, because it's not just one payment. It's 360 of them, stretched out over decades. So what happens when you actually add it all up? What are we really truly signing up for here? Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, let's just use a real-world example. Let's say you take out a pretty standard home loan. We'll use $250,000 as our starting point. It's a nice, clean number to work with.
Now hold on to your hat. If your interest rate on that loan is 8% over 30 years, this is how much you'll pay in interest alone. $410,000. Wait, just pause on that for a second. Are you saying I borrow $250,000 and I pay back an extra $410,000 on top of that? That just can't be right.
How is that even possible? I mean, seriously, it feels like the math is just broken. How can you pay back almost double the amount of the loan in just interest? Well, the math isn't broken. It's just designed in a very, very specific way. And to understand it, we have to unlock the code. We need to look at this thing called amortization. Amortization is really just a fancy word for how the bank splits up your payments every month. Part of your check goes to paying down the actual loan amount, that's called the principal, and the other part goes to paying the interest. Now, the secret isn't that it's split. The secret is how it's split. Okay, so this table right here, this shows the first few months of our loan, and this is where the curtain is really pulled back. Look at that very first payment. Your total payment is about $1,663, but look at the split. The interest portion is a whopping $1,458, and the principal, the part that actually pays down my loan, is only $205. That's shocking. I'm barely even making a dent in what I actually owe. So you're telling me that in the beginning, almost my entire mortgage payment is just feeding the bank's interest machine? That's it, precisely. The loan is front-loaded. You spend the first, say, decade or so paying almost entirely interest. The bank makes sure it gets its profit first. And that is why just following the 30-year plan is so incredibly expensive. But it also reveals their weakness. So now that we actually understand the problem, we can build the solution. See, if the bank's strategy is to keep your principal balance high for as long as possible, our strategy has to be to attack the principal directly and early. I like the sound of that. This is where we finally go on offense. Let's see the action plan. All right, let's start with the simplest, most accessible strategy for pretty much anyone. What happens if you just add an extra $100 to your mortgage payment each month? And remember, every single cent of that extra 100 goes directly to paying down the principal. Just for $100 a month, you knock almost 5 years off the life of the loan. That is incredible. I mean, think about that. That's almost 5 years of not having a mortgage payment hanging over your head. Exactly. And that time you save translates directly into money. By paying it off faster, you just avoid all the interest you would have paid in those years. That's over $66,000 that stays in your pocket, not the bank's. Okay, so if $100 a month is good, what happens when we get a little more aggressive? Let's say you can swing an extra $250 a month. Now we're really starting to see the power of this concept. Let's look at what the numbers do now. You shave off nearly a full decade. Just think about that. 9.4 years of your life, completely mortgage-free. That changes everything. That's sending a kid to college, maybe starting a business, or even retiring early. It's not just a number on a page. That's real freedom. And the financial savings here are just massive, over $126,000. That's a six-figure sum, simply by being disciplined and strategic with your payments. Okay, so let's look at this from a different angle. Not everyone can add extra money every single month. But what if you get a bonus at work, or maybe a small inheritance? Let's say you make a single one-time extra payment of $5,000. Wow, so even one payment, just one time, cuts almost 2 years off the loan.
Yeah, because you're attacking that principle early on, which means every future interest calculation is based on a smaller number. It literally has a ripple effect through the entire life of the loan. So that single $5,000 payment actually saves you over $28,000 in the long run. That is nearly a 6-to-1 return on your money. I mean, you can't get that kind of guaranteed return anywhere else. It's truly one of the best, most guaranteed investments you can possibly make. Now, this final strategy is great because it basically automates the process. Instead of making one monthly payment, you pay half of your payment every 2 weeks. So you're just paying the same amount, but more often? Not quite. And this is the clever part. Because there are 52 weeks in a year, you end up making 26 of these half payments. That's the same as 13 full monthly payments. You cleverly sneak in one extra payment per year without even feeling it. And that one invisible extra payment a year cuts over 6 years off the mortgage. That's amazing. It's like a set it and forget it way to get way ahead of the game. It is a fantastic, low effort strategy that has a huge impact over time.
And the savings are really significant. We're talking over $86,000 in interest just by changing the timing of your payments. It's powerful stuff. Okay, so we've seen how the whole system is built, and we've looked at 4 totally different ways to fight back. This really feels like we're putting all the pieces of the puzzle together now. This is the master key. This is the part where you see all the options laid out, so you can stop following the bank's timeline and start creating your own. So here it is, the complete roadmap. We've laid out all 4 strategies. And what's really useful here is seeing the impact at different interest rates. We have both 4% and 7% shown. Honestly, this is the perfect moment to just pause and really look at this. Find your situation. See what an extra $100 could do for you. See the power of that one-time payment. This isn't just a chart. It's a map to getting out of debt years, maybe even a decade, sooner than you thought possible. So in the end, it really all comes down to this one simple question. The bank's plan, the one they give you, is designed for their profit. They've essentially handed you a 30-year sentence. But now you have the tools. You know the code. The question is no longer what their plan is for you, but what's your plan for yourself?